Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Wednesdays. My name's Gerald Lim and I'm your host. This week in our Canada Day episode, we're featuring the Crown Royal Special Reserve from the Crown Royal Distilling Company in Toronto, Ontario. For those of you international fans watching, Toronto is the capital of the province of Ontario, which is not to be confused with the national capital of Canada, which is Ottawa, my home. Before we get started, would you do me a favor? Click the thumbs up button below, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. I need your help to grow the number of subscribers and viewers we have here. All it takes is for each of you to invite 2 new people to this site this week. Can you do that for me? If you're new to my channel, welcome. You can watch and browse all of my other whiskey reviews here. I'm always open to your feedback so we can make this journey even better. And here's a small history lesson for you. The first Crown Royal Canadian whiskey was meticulously crafted from 50 select whiskeys in 1939 to commemorate the first Royal Tour of Canada by Their Majesties King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. I like to divide my whiskey reviews into 5 areas: color, nose, palate, finish, and pairing. Since this is a blended whiskey, this week's tasting is a lot less comprehensive than most of the scotches that I have reviewed. But let's get started on those 5 areas. For the color, you'll notice that this whiskey has a dark brown shade, a color that is consistent with most blended whiskeys. For the nose, instead of using my traditional Glencairn nosing glasses, I chose instead to use one of these traditional old-fashioned glasses. The concept and the approach is still the same. This whiskey is rich and complex. I can smell hints of cinnamon, vanilla, as well as floral notes. For this week's tasting, we're going to combine both the palate and the finish in one sip. So you're going to let the whiskey swirl around your palate, and I want you to take note of the following 3 things: the taste, the burn on your lips, and how long it lingers on your palate for. That's going to define the finish. Here we go. What do you taste? Do you taste that rich, smooth creaminess, that velvety smooth texture? I also taste hints of citrus and a very noticeable tangy orange peel flavor. Try adding an ice cube or 2. And do that same tasting again. By adding that ice cube or 2, you'll actually notice a noticeably different flavor. By adding an ice cube or 2, that brings out a slightly different flavor in your tasting. I would describe this as a medium whiskey with a long-lasting finish. This whiskey would pair well alongside some dark chocolate with hints of sea salt. I mentioned this pairing in a previous video, and some of you reached out to me on where we can source these chocolates from. Simply put, from your local grocery store. In fact, I brought some samples along with me today. So over here on the right, you have a piece of dark chocolate, 80% cocoa. And on the left here, you have a piece of dark chocolate with hints of sea salt. You'll be amazed at how the sea salt balances the flavor and mutes the overt sweetness of this whiskey blend. You can pick up a bottle of the Crown Royal Special Reserve for around $60 Canadian at the LCBO or at your local Canadian liquor store. If you're not fond of smoky or peaty whiskeys, then this makes for a great introductory whiskey for you. Personally, I'm not a fan of this particular blend, as I find it too sweet and it lacks the sophisticated flavors that most scotches have. However, it is a relatively inexpensive whiskey at its 40% ABV. So, if you have a sweet tooth and a less discerning palate, it is an option to add to your whiskey collection. We have come to the end of this week's whiskey review. Don't forget to like and share these posts with your friends and fellow whiskey lovers. Join me next week as I launch a new series featuring vintage and special edition scotches in my collection, starting with the Aberfeldy 21-year-old. Until then, and wishing each of you a happy and safe Canada Day, Sláinte.